Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. 2022 is over. In the GPU market, it's totally insane right now, with some deals still to be found and the launch of the RX 7900 XTX and 7900 XT. But the big question is, what's going to happen in 2023 to GPU prices? Will we see a massive GPU price crash? We'll cover everything, including the best price to performance GPUs right now. Remember, if you get value out of the video, give it a like as it really helps out the channel. And of course, subscribe and click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. With that, let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by Best Buy's Top Deals. If you are looking for the best deals on TVs, electronics, or PC gaming, then Best Buy's Top Deals has you covered. From gaming laptops like this Asus Strix Advantage with a Ryzen 5980HX and Radeon 6800M for $1,099, to this Alienware 240Hz esports gaming monitor for an insane $199, to this Razer Huntsman Mini gaming keyboard for just $79, to deals on the latest phones, tablets, TVs, and more. Get your products fast as soon as today, ready in 1 hour with store or curbside pickup. If you are looking for the best deals on the latest tech, then check out Best Buy's Top Deals using the link in the video description. All right, let's start off at current pricing because the market is totally insane right now. A total bloodbath. Retailers who were afraid of recession fears, which I thought were completely overblown, turned out I was right on that, ordered not enough stock of stuff, and the massive amount of pent-up demand from gamers who have waited for 2 years to upgrade or build a new PC because of the GPU crisis collided during Black Friday when the deals were the best. Obviously, we saw insane deals on GPUs and CPUs, mostly on the AMD side. Intel and NVIDIA don't usually play ball, but if you wanted to buy something from AMD, man, were the prices slashed. And right now, as a result, so much stuff has sold out of stock, completely sold out of stock. That's why some of these prices you're seeing are like 25% higher than last month because everything's sold out and the only things left are from the retailers who are like completely overcharging in the first place. But let's punch through the pricing so we can get to where we're going in 2023. And we'll also talk about this 7900 XTX and XT launch and what do I think about the performance of it. But let's start off with its launch pricing. $1,500 is what I have in here for December. Why do I have that in here? Well, because it's sold out everywhere, just like with the 4090, completely sold out the first day, sold out. But the good news is that most of them did not go to scalpers. There's only 29 listings right now on eBay for these. There were like hundreds of listings for 4090s like within a couple of days. So this is a good sign that scalpers were not able or not interested in grabbing the vast majority of these. It looks like AMD just didn't supply enough cards. That's often the case though. Usually flagship launches completely sell out. I've got a price of $899 in here for the RX 7900 XT though. Why is that, Jason? Didn't that one sell out? No, it did not. Absolutely did not sell out. As of this video, I'm filming this right now, days later, you can get a Sapphire Radeon RX 7900 XT, the reference model for $899 from XFX Sapphire. It doesn't matter who you buy it from, they're all the reference models, right? You can even get the AIB models for just about $50 more. You can add them to your card. I've already tried to do it. You can get all the way through checkout. Absolutely will work for you. So one of two things happened. Either AMD completely oversupplied the US market, which a lot of people were saying that they were going to do with 7900 XTs, or these cards aren't selling. And we'll talk about what my suspicion is later in the video. Let's jump into the 6000 series and then we'll do NVIDIA. Listen, the pricing, everything's sold out. It's all the $699 for a 6900 XTs, not a bad price. The 6800 XT had amazing pricing during the holiday period. In fact, all the way down to $514 during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, kind of early holiday deals. You could even completely backorder this card still in early December for $514, which is an amazing deal. And if you missed out, oof, that's a hard one because I don't know how much more of these GPUs, AMD, or even NVIDIA on like the 3080 side has left to sell. If you look at the 6800, you can still buy that for $499. That's probably one of the better value GPUs right now, along with the 6700 and 6750 XT for around $359. The 6650 XT keeps completely selling out. That's why it's $284 right now. The $249 models do keep coming back into stock. And that GPU got all the way down to $229 right there. $229 during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday holiday shopping period, which was totally insane. If you didn't pick one up then, you're probably kicking yourself in the rear if that's the kind of GPU that you were looking for. And honestly, RX 6600, still $211. Yes, it got down to $189 during the Black Friday madness. That was through a rebate, but you you can buy one right now without a rebate for $211. Still pretty insane value. All right, quick segue to the NVIDIA cards. We'll just talk about the Intel Arc GPUs. They're effectively the same price, A750, A770. I'm not really tracking the A380 or whatever it is because it's kind of a trash GPU. And again, I don't recommend these GPUs. They're an unfinished product. They possibly have hardware issues with them, and they don't run a lot of games. So there's a lot of issues with these. So for right now, my recommendation continues to be stay far away from these. Let's jump into the NVIDIA side. Obviously, NVIDIA does not typically participate in all the Black Friday holiday sale madness. You usually see a couple of discounts. That's mostly retailers offering it on their side. Let's start off with the RTX 4090, $2,050, essentially unchanged, still completely out of stock anywhere, any retailer, at least in the United States that you want to try and get it at. And I've got some really bad news for those of you who think that the scalpers are done with this one. In fact, it looks like the scalpers are intensifying, buying up the 4090 stock and selling them off. This is eBay. Now, over the last month, there's been about 1,300, almost 1,400 GPUs, 4090s sold on eBay. Remember, there's a lot of places to liquidate these kind of things for scalpers. There's StockX, there's Facebook Marketplace, there's Craigslist, there's all. This is just one of the channels that scalpers use. And that's unfortunate because we're only seeing a fraction of the volume here that's being soaked up by scalpers. And look at this. It's actually increased in the last couple of days. Now, I will say this has coincided with the release of the benchmarks of the RX 7900 XTX. So maybe this is some people deciding, okay, I am going to get a 4090 now, and I know they're not available at retail, but I want it now, so I'm just going to buy it on eBay. But I also think this is NVIDIA trying to push more into the channel and it immediately getting bought up by scalpers and being resold for a huge price. Now, the average sold price here is $2,200, $2,199.94. One of the disgusting things, how did this scalper get 62 models to scalp? How does that happen? And this is over the last 30 days. If you looked at the previous 30 days, it was even worse. Look at how many models they get. 24 of the same ROG Strix models, 24 of them they've scalped for $3,000 a pop, $2,998. That is totally insane how that's allowed to happen. Again, congratulations. Investigation time. Then jumping back to the RTX 4080 is finally in stock in the US. I keep seeing people referring to Newegg listings from third-party sellers in like Hong Kong and other places, charging exorbitant prices and saying, oh, look, it's not selling. The RTX 4080, at least in the US, maybe outside the US it's not selling as well, but at least in the US it has been selling. I've been checking regularly. US retailers have not really had stock of it until the last couple of days, to be quite honest. And if you want one of those cards right now, yeah, you can back order this PNY model. I don't include backorder models because it's, unfortunately, people have found out over the years, just because you backorder something doesn't mean you'll ever actually get it. I only focus on actually available cards right now, either from a retailer or from eBay. You can get a Zotac model for $1,329. That's the price I'm going with. There have been some other ones come in stock. The Asus TUF is now in stock today, $1,399. And then there's another Zotac model, but then everything else is sold out from any reputable seller. I want to heavily caution people who are expecting NVIDIA to completely slash the price of the 4080 right now. It's possible it might happen because, again, it may not be selling outside the US, but at least in the US, it does appear to be selling. And then we have a lot of numbers in this chart that I feel like are kind of almost fakeish. Why is that? Well, if you look at the 3090, $1,395 right now. Again, that's because there are no 3090s or 3090 Ti's really available. And the ones that you're seeing right there are from Amazon, really sketchy sellers who are selling them for ridiculous prices. Nobody should be buying a 3090 or 3090 Ti for $1,395. That's just stupid. Get a 4080 if you want NVIDIA that bad. The 3080s, for instance, that $769 price, well, that's this, Yestron waifu anime card. And if you're not into this stuff, and I know some people really are, so I'm not bashing the anime on this, I'm really not, but this is the only 3080 that is really available because the next one is like a Zotac model for like $981 over at Amazon. So what we're seeing here is a little bit of a mirage right now in terms of availability. I just want to caution you on these numbers. Same with the 3070 Ti. It's the Yestron waifu model that's $635. Anything else is quite a bit more than that, though there are also models you can back order. Again, no guarantee you're ever going to actually see them if you back order them, but you can back order them for about $650, $660. 3060 Ti you actually can find in stock. Again, mostly Zotac models on the lower end, so like $394. What is that? That's like this Zotac Twin Edge one right here. If you want more of a quote-unquote name brand, I know some people absolutely will not buy Zotac, that's fine, then you're paying more like $450 or so for the RTX 3060 Ti. Ti. Onto the 3060, yes, it has come down to $353. That does actually represent a real card. Again, another Zotac card, so you can take for that what you will. It does come with a free game as well. If you don't want a Zotac card or a PNY card, or you don't want one of these, single fan cards, and you're paying more like $389, which is about 15, 20 bucks more than it had been. We did see during Black Friday come all the way down, I think, to $339. You get an MSI card, a pretty good MSI card for that. The 3050 is essentially unchanged. This is the 2060, and the GTX 1660 Supers and TIs that were super on discount are unfortunately selling out, and really you just got the $229 ones. Nobody should be buying essentially any of these bottom tier NVIDIA GPUs when you can get an RX 6600, but we'll go through the best GPUs later in the video. I do want to caution folks on who are looking for a 3060 still, and they say, oh, there's an 8GB 3060 that might even be a little cheaper. Unfortunately, if you missed the reviews of this card done by Hardware Unboxed, great piece of content, strongly recommend it. I'll link it down in the video description. Don't buy the 8GB 3060s. They have limited memory bandwidth, and they basically have about 25 to 26% less performance for the same price as the 12GB 3080. Now, in my book, if you start selling one product with one performance level at one price, and then you start selling another product with the same essentially name at the same price, but 25% less performance, to me, that's called a scam, an absolute scam. So I just want to caution people, avoid the 8GB cards. If you want to get a 3060, you're looking for the 12GB cards. All right, let's talk about where the 7900 XTX and 7900 XT kind of slot in the market. Let's talk about the launch. What do I think about the GPU? Should you consider buying one? Well, let's start off with the performance. 7900 XT, this is TechSpot data. We'll leave a link to this down in the video description. Basically, Hardware Unboxed, they published this over at TechSpot. 7900 XTX, not as good a performance as we were initially told by AMD, and AMD done told a lie there, and I'm kind of mad at you, but I want to keep these separate. There's basically what's on the market at what price and your budget and your needs and the needs of the consumers, and then there's the industry drama. And unfortunately, AMD was really one of the three partners of, AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA, where you could actually tend to trust their numbers, because they had, since the 5700 XT and the 6000 series launch, always shown their GPUs head to head against the competition in real games, and their numbers had held up once the products had come out. They had earned the right to come out on the stage and say, we're going to give you up to 1.7 times the performance, but you didn't deliver this time. So you know what? All that good work that you just did, you just lit it, took a flamethrower. That being said, let's talk about what the actual performance of the GPU is, because it's quite impressive. It's basically a 4080 for less money in rasterization. Should you consider the 4080 instead? Well, we did a poll, how important ray tracing is for you. 26,000 people voted on 26,000 people voted in our poll on ray tracing. What do we find? Only about 20%, once you take out the CAD option people who just weren't voting, only about 20% said it's either critical to them or that they would trade at least a little bit of money or FPS for it. If you're that 20% and this budget range is what you're looking at, then yes, the 4080 is for you. If you're like the vast majority of people, 80% plus, and you have this much money to spend, then yes, 7900 XT is for you. The good news is we have options now in the marketplace. We have options. That being said, if you're a Call of Duty Modern Warfare player, look at that, 7900 XT crushes the 4090. How does that even happen? Even the 7900 XT comes close to the 4090. So what is going on there? Well, it's possible that what we're seeing is some issues with the multi-chip module GPU. Remember, this is the first multi-chip module GPU being produced, similar to the Ryzen CPUs, which are multi-chip modules that came out starting in 2016, 2017 with the Ryzen 1000 series. It's possible we're just seeing a lot of teething issues with that. There are some rumors right now that they shipped some unfinished silicon, that there's some other challenges going on. I've also heard through Moore's Law is Dead, he reported that basically AMD's drivers team is being told they have to work through the holiday period. So it does look like AMD's not happy with something that happened, and they're working to increase performance. Yes, I know AMD GPUs tend to age like fine wine. There's two ways to look at that. One is that their driver team does a much better job than NVIDIA's over time. The other is that their drivers launch much worse, and then they eventually get them up to where they should have been at launch. You can just kind of take your pick. It's probably somewhere in the middle there. But ultimately, I come back to this slide. I can only promise you the performance that was actually been delivered. I can't promise you it will get any better. And based on that, again, I think 7900 XTX makes sense if you can find it in stock. The 4080 is available right now. 7900 XT is available right now. A lot of these other cards on this list, not available. 3090, gone. 3080 Ti essentially gone. 3080 effectively gone. I mean, it's like $900, it's more. So yeah, you start getting into what the actual market is going to look like if the 3000 series high-end has essentially been sold through, and if the 6000 series on the AMD side has essentially been sold through. We're looking at a very different market. Jumping quickly over to the used market, we're not going to spend a lot of time here. We're not going to go through each generation because basically the same thing happened, which is there was a massive sell-through in the new market and there was also a massive sell-through in the used market. And yeah, I've highlighted the ones in red that have gone up. The GPUs that were RTX 3000 series all kind of sold through, but these kind of posts still continue to be indicative of where many in the mining community are. They're basically creating these fantasy scenarios, holding on to these RTX 3000 series GPUs, and all they need to do is wait it out for a couple of years. I mean, people can live in alternate universes for quite some time. They've largely liquidated like the 1660 Supers and older GPUs, but they're holding on for dear life to many of these RTX 3000 series GPUs. It's possible some of them will just never again see the light of day. They're just going to rot away in some warehouse until 10 years from now, someone buys them, at auction at someone's estate sale. That being said, I also see a couple of positive trends right now. So some miners are posting stories like this where they're like, you know what? I had 4.5 gigahash of Ether mining. I had 59 video cards and I finally decided I'm selling them all and I've liquidated them. The 3080s, 3070s, and I've just decided to liquidate it. So some folks are getting the message. I think that being said, there is a calcification out there in terms of attitudes. I just think that we'll probably see most of these cards sold over the next year, which is unfortunate because I think myself and others were hoping these people would be a little bit more realistic and start selling them right now to put additional pressure on prices. Let's go through the best price to performance GPUs in December. If you're still looking for stuff, there are some deals still out there right now and even some used deals to take a look at. If you're not familiar with how we do this, we basically take the performance of all these GPUs relative to the RX 570, we get the price, both used and new, and we come up with a price to performance based on that performance. Of course, there's a link to this spreadsheet down in the video description. You can check it out. These are all based on US prices, but you can put in your own pricing if you're in a different region, both used and new, and use it to calculate your best price to performance. Starting off in our under 200 1080p gaming category, they're all used basically. Now, there are some actual new GPUs we'll mention in just a moment, but if you're looking for something that's best value right now, RX 580, honestly, just go buy one of those cards. They are everywhere. These were great mining cards. These are the cards that miners are liquidating in vast quantities. The price is down to 95, even though a lot of them sold through during the holidays. Because again, you can put together a gaming PC for like $300 or $400 using one of these GPUs. It's pretty insane. That being said, 5700 XT, if you're willing to spend a little bit more money, really, really good performance. It is a little bit more performative than the 6600. You can get the 6600 new for $211. We'll see that in the next slide. The rest of these cards on this list, 5600, yeah, it's not bad in terms of price and performance if you can't spend as much. GTX 1660, if you want an NVIDIA card, a Super or a TI card, pretty good value at $145 still. Then if we go to high FPS GPUs, what we're looking at essentially here is the 5700 XT, GTX 1070. That card's getting a little long in the tooth. I would probably take a look at something more like the 1660 Super, 1660 Ti, about the same performance. But if you're looking for a new card, that's the RX 6600 or 6650 or 6600 XT. Those are phenomenal values and phenomenal products right now for $211 and about $240 to $270 right now, depending on when one comes in stock. For our 1440p GPUs, we already mentioned the 5700 XT. It's again a great used GPU to go get. The reason they're dirt cheap is because miners are liquidating them like crazy. Those are the GPUs the miners are liquidating. RX 6650 XT or 6600 XT, really 6650 XT has replaced the 6600 XT. $269, that is a great value if you want to get kind of entry level 1440p in most titles. That being said, if you want higher refresh rates, yeah, I don't know. 3070 used is a pretty good value right now for about $395, $400, but you're not going to find it new for anything less than like $650. If you want a new GPU at 1440p, the 6700, 6750 XT for around that $350, $380 price point, probably where you're going to be looking. That being said, the 6800 right now is probably a better value if you want kind of max FPS. for, $499. And finally, for the 4K capable cards, obviously we got like the 7900 XTX and XT are now on this list, along with the 4080 and the 4090. So where do they rank? Well, those new cards, obviously they don't rank well in terms of overall price to performance, because as you get up the higher end of performance, every additional FPS you get costs you more than the last one. That's the way to think about it. It's called diminishing returns. It doesn't just happen in GPUs, happens in all kinds of different product cycles. So if you're looking for something more like 4K 60 FPS, the 6800 U3070, good values. 6800 XT, if we get those back in stock around that $600 price point, otherwise 6900 X. And look at that, the 7900 XT right now, pretty good value. Although you can get a used RTX 3090 for about $845 for about the same price, but it's essentially the same performance as the 7900 XT. I think possibly more upside with the 7900 XT, although you do get DLSS and some other features that might be exciting to you, or productivity features, like Adobe Creative Suite for the 3090. Maybe you can make that decision there. If you want like super ultra max, you're really looking to bite off a lot of money right now with like a 4080. The XTX is completely sold out, so it's $1,500 if you want it. We'll see in the next couple of weeks if they can get those back into stock at MSRP. If they can, I think that will be the overall price to performance leader. And obviously the 4090 is just stupidly priced right now, over $2,000. But if you want the best of the best, it's really the card to go with. Let's talk about where the GPU market goes in 2023. Will we see a massive GPU price crash in 2023 as a result of all the pent-up demand from gamers being satiated during the holiday and Black Friday period? Let's first start off with what GPUs we expect coming down the pike. CES is happening early January. NVIDIA is not going. We're going. We're going to have a lot of fun there. We're going to have to do a video about it. But NVIDIA will be doing a live stream announcement at the time of CES. We do expect them to announce the RTX 4080 12 gigabyte card, rebranded basically as the RTX 4070 Ti. Will we get a 4070, a 4060 Ti, a 4060 announcement? Seems very unlikely. NVIDIA has made no secret. In fact, they've pretty much said to their shareholders in meetings that they will not release new products essentially until the competing RTX 3000 series product has completely sold out. So for instance, you won't get a 4060 until the 3070s are gone. 3070s still in some volume, 3060 Ti's are still in some volume out there. So I don't expect the 4060 anytime soon. They're going to go at their pace, not at your pace. On the other side of things, do I expect AMD to make a big announcement at CES about the 7800 XT and 7800? I would greatly discount that now, given some of the challenges the multi-chip module GPUs are having, and AMD, if this is all correct, that they're having the driver team come in over the holidays, then I would expect them to maybe put the brakes a little bit on the 7800 XT and 7800 launch, because those are supposed to be Navi 23, which is also supposed to be multi-chip module, but we'll see. All right, so let's play everyone's favorite game. Should you buy now or should you wait? We actually just did a poll. 30,000 of you voted in this poll, and I basically broke it out by price. So let's go by these price breakdowns, because I think they'll be very, very helpful. People who are always going to buy the best, $1,600 and up, go buy the 4090. You can decide whether or not you want to wait for it to be available at retail. That being said, the scalpers seem to really have their hooks in on this one. $900 to $1,300 range. Honestly, there's not a lot of choice left. If the 3090s and 3090 Ti's and 3080 Ti's, if those are in fact effectively sold through at this point, because it kind of looks like that might be the case, what are your options? The 4080, possibly a 4070 Ti announced and launched very soon. Again, you're gonna have to slug it out. And then you got the 7900 XTX and 7900 XT. Well, I think if you can get the XTX, that's my obvious choice for the 80% of you who don't care about ray trace. For the 20% of you who are more ray tracing enthusiasts from our earlier poll, yeah, 4080 makes a lot of sense if this is your price range. And if you're just kind of barely reaching up into this price bracket, maybe the 7900 XT makes sense. Otherwise, I would just wait for that card. Dropping down the next category, we had 600 to 899. That was 24% of you looking for 4K 60 FPS and up. Possibly the 7900 XT makes some sense if that's as far up as you can reach, but I would wait for that 4070 Ti launch and review and see where that thing slots in terms of the price point. 44% of you said that you were looking between $300 and $599 for a good mid-range 1440p GPU. Honestly, I think you got it right now. 6800, I don't think it's getting replaced anytime soon at $499. the 6750 XT, 6700 XT, 6650 XT. If you have to have NVIDIA, the 3060 Ti, used 3070s right now look pretty good as well if you're open to buying a used card. And only 11% said $300 or less. You should just go out and buy the RX 6600. Don't even think about it. Like $211, boom. Get it. It will play a lot of games at 1440p and it'll play everything at 1080p. So I just don't understand why you would be trying to wait at this point, because you're going to be waiting for quite a long time. NVIDIA options don't really make sense. 2060 doesn't give you as much performance for a lot more money. The 3050 gives you even less performance for even more money. It's crazy. But if you're somebody who absolutely has to have NVIDIA, I would look to pick up maybe like used 2060 for about $200. Remember, if you got value out of the video, give it a like, because it makes a huge difference to the channel, especially this guy right here. And every time you like the video, he'll get another kitty treat. And if you missed our recent Boost My Build video where we take your PC part picker list, we tear them up, we put them back together, and we massively increase your performance, then check out this video right here. You might learn something about building your next PC in 2023. And we'll catch you on the next one.